Today I'm going to show you how to create a 7-figure funnel in roughly 14 days. Could it also be 21 days? Doesn't really matter, but in just a couple of weeks max, right? So just in case we haven't met before, my name is Wilco the Kreij. I've got various funnels that have got 7 or 8 figures in sales, and I just created a new funnel, or actually we're about to release it, which I'm 100% confident we're gonna hit the 7-figure mark. Not within that 14-day period, but over the total time span, right? But we are creating it in just a couple of weeks. Now, what I'm gonna do today is give you a little bit of behind the scenes. This video is much more a raw kind of video. I haven't fully prepared it. I'm just gonna, basically as if you were here, I'm just gonna take you by the hand and start talking about what do you actually do? What have we done? So yes, I will be going back and forth about all kind of details, but I won't be holding anything back. I'm just gonna spill the beans about, what it all takes. So this will be a longer episode. This will be a bit more in depth, but it's gonna be fun as well. Sounds good? All right, let's do it. So what does it take to, that's a good question to start. What is it, like 7-figure funnel? What does it even mean? Like it means one funnel gets more than $1 million in revenues. Does that mean profit? Of course not. But how do you actually get there, right? What does it actually need to be? Like what do you need to have in order to even do that, right? Obviously, you need to have a good product or service that people actually want to buy, right? Like if you don't have a product, you need to start out with a product, like something that people actually want. Like you should deliver a certain result, you should solve a certain problem, right? If you're online, you're like, how am I gonna make money? Like, forget that. You want to provide epic value, right? But assume that you have gotten that in place. What else do you need? Well, I would say if you want to create a funnel that does 7 figures in sales, you need scale, right? You need something that actually scales. So what does that mean, right? It means that you can afford to promote it. You can afford to spend money on it, right? Like, because if you only want to focus on free traffic, and yes, there's awesome ways to get free traffic. I mean, we all know, hopefully, if you're not, you should check it out. UpViral is like, it's a great way to build your list for free. But like if you want to have something pushing continuously, it's also good. You want to have multiple things in place to promote it. And what that means is that ideally, like in my personal case, I also want to leverage, for example, things like Facebook ads and YouTube ads. And what's needed to do that? What is needed? You need to have a good ROI, right? And that means it's very, very much money in versus money out, right? And in order to do that, it means that, like, if let's say you spend $100 right here, you put $100 inside your Facebook ads, and you get back, I don't know, like $50, you are not going to actually make a profit, right? If you, for example, get $100 in and you get $125 out, then actually you're still not going to get it, right? Because like if you spend $100, you get $125 out. One thing you should know when you're running ads, as you start to spend more, like instead of spending $100,000, instead of spending $100, you start spending, for example, $10,000 a day, or for example, your ROI will actually go down, right? You will get a lower ROI. So it's important to actually, initially when you get started, you need to have quite a bit of an ROI. Like ideally, $100 would give you like $300 back out, right? Then I'll know, like if I hit 1 to 3, I can scale it. And even at scale, if it's like 1 to 2, still good to go, right? I'm happy to spend like a couple $100,000 to get twice the money back, right? So with that in mind, what we need to do is, and this is something that some people forget, like we need to something that actually converts, right? How do we do that? As obviously, copywriting is important, but that's actually not the most important thing, I would say. I would say the thing I spend most of my time on is the hook, the angle. What is the hook, the angle, Wilco? Well, it's basically, the way I think is a good way to explain it is how do you explain your product or service? Like, and if that is an ER offer, that is not good, right? Not good. What do we mean with an ER offer? If you're basically saying like, well, like maybe you are a web hosting company and why should people buy your product? What's the reason? Why should they buy your product? You say like, oh, it's cheaper. ER. It's faster than the competitors. ER. What that is, it's an improvement offer. It improves something better than the current situation, right? And if that's the case, if it's an improvement offer, it's not as sexy. It's not some people will buy, right? But in order to get this massive ROI, right? You need not just to get some people over the edge. You need to be so exciting that people are like, wow, this is a new opportunity, right? It's a massive new opportunity. New opportunity, right? So people want to jump on board, right? And as long as you say like, oh, it's an improvement offer. It's like cheaper, better, faster, whatever. Like it's not that exciting to upgrade from what they're currently using, right? But if instead of saying like, let's compare that to like if we're talking about a web host, like there were web hosting before, right? And there was WordPress and all that, and then all the funnel pages came along, ClickFunnels and all that. They didn't say like, hey, we're better WordPress hosting or like better page builder. No, we created a new opportunity. Like you don't want to build a website, you want to create a funnel, right? They could have said it's a website because it is a website, right? But they explain it differently. It's about the hook, the angle, and their hook and angle is like, hey, it's funnels, right? Website is old, the new opportunity is funnels, right? And this is really important. So I spent a lot of time working on this, on what is the hook, the angle, to actually, like what's the old situation that people currently have, all the problems or whatever, versus the new situation, right? So where was I? Creating a 7-figure funnel, what does that all mean? So in my case, I already have products, right? We have various products. I'm not sure if you're familiar. I have two businesses. One being UpViral, the other one being Connectio. Now, I don't want this to be about my business. This is not a promotional video or episode. I just want to share some background and just again start talking out loud. So just in case, just so you know, UpViral, that's a viral lead generation tool. So if you want to grow your list, awesome, you need to use UpViral. If you're running Facebook ads, you need to use Connectio, right? There's various tools inside the Connectio platform that will help you get a higher ROI, such as Connect Your Target, Connect Leads, Connect Explore, etc. Now, recently I was looking at my product and services, right? And I was like, all right, I wanted to create a new funnel, a new offer, a new hook or angle, right? And sometimes it's not easy to come up with a new hook or a new angle, right? Sometimes you have your product, and it's like, how do I come up with it? And one good way, what you sometimes can do is like look at your product, like let's say this is your product, right? And ask yourself, like, what is the problem? Like, who's getting access to that? I'll use an example, a specific example. Like for example, one of my products is called Connect, Retarget. Right? And it helps people to run higher ROI retargeting campaigns. It makes sure that you can run behavioral retargeting ads on Facebook. So for example, people who scroll down on your website, only those people will then see your ad, which will give you a much higher ROI. Again, it's not about the product. I don't want this to be a promotional video, but who am I selling that to, right? I'm selling that to people who are running retargeting ads, because if you're not running retargeting ads on Facebook, then you're not my potential client, because, it's not a good fit, because if you need to run retargeting ads to get value from this. So, all right, now I was thinking of this specific product, like how to find a new hook or angle? I was like, all right, I'm selling towards people who are running retargeting ads, or people who are at least running Facebook ads, but maybe like they're running Facebook ads, maybe they haven't set up their retargeting ad yet. So I figured, you know what? Sometimes instead of creating a new hook or angle, what you can do is you create a new front-end offer. What's that called? So this is basically an offer that you put in front of your main offer, right? So usually this is a cheaper product just to start a relationship with new clients. And you've probably seen this many times, where people talk about the funnel ladder, where they draw something like this. Like Russell Brunson is very known for doing that, where it's like, hey, you have like a cheap product, like for example, it could be a $7 product or $47, doesn't matter. And then like you got a $97 and then like $300 and this could be whatever. It could also be that you have like, maybe this is like a $70 and this is like a $9,000 and this is like a $3,000 and $25,000. Like pricing doesn't matter, but basically there's like a stepping stone where people can go to the value ladder, right? They start slow, they start low and a lower offer, and then you just increase, right? So I recently figured, you know what? For Connect Retarget, I'm actually going to do a front-end offer as well, right? I'm going to create a product that will help people get more results using retargeting. And then by the end of that product, it will make sense to then use Connect Retarget as well. So for me, in my particular case, what that meant was that where was I? So I wanted to make sure, like one of the things you need if you're using Connect Retarget, one of the things you need to do, right? I'll go back one step. Again, this is just an experimental video. I'm just doing it as if you're here in my room right here. one of the things I asked myself is like, what are all the problems people have to use Connect Retarget? And this is something you can ask yourself as well. Like, what are all the people, what do my customers have to do to get value from my product? Because usually your client will have to do multiple things to get value from your product, right? Doesn't matter what your product is. Like, even Netflix solves the problem of boredom, right? Like they entertain people, but you need to have a TV to actually be able to watch it, right? Or at least a device. And maybe that was the reason why I started using creating mobile apps and all that, to make sure that even if you don't have a TV, you can still watch it, right? So ask yourself, for your product, well, what are all the things that people need to have in place to get value from it? And in this case, Connect Retarget, one of the things that people need to have in place is the retargeting ad. Like, what do people actually see on their Facebook timeline? The ad copy, basically. And ad copy is not easy. It's hard, right? You need to be creative and like what's going to work. It takes time. It is not fun for most businesses. So I figured, you know what? That's a problem that I can solve, right? And I could just add it inside as a bonus inside Connect Retarget. That's a good strategy. Nothing wrong with that. Like, hey, there's an objection. People, before they buy Connect Retarget, maybe they ask themselves like, hey, but I need to write retargeting ads. So as a bonus, I add in a training on how to write good ad copy. Cool. I could have done that. What I've done in this case, I actually created a front-end product. We're working on it as we speak. I call it the retargeting machine. I should learn to write better. But here it says retargeting machine. Apologies for that. So now I'm having this front-end product, which is all about how to write high converting Facebook retargeting ads, right? And then once people have bought that, then I can tell people like, hey, by the way, next to my value ladder, like if now you have the right ads, but if you want to improve your ROI further, you shouldn't target everyone on your website. You should only target people who've actually engaged on your website. And you can do that using Connect Retarget, right? And the reason why I'm doing it like that, instead of just adding the bonus right here, like a simple math thing, right? So let's say if you want to promote people and get people access to your product, and you're running Facebook ads into that, right? Facebook ads into your $100 or $500 product, you need to spend a lot of money before you actually know whether it's going to work. And only one in a lot of people, like a low percentage, is actually going to make a purchase, right? So you're missing out on like 99% of customers, most likely. Of your not customers, of people, give or take, just as an example, right? So instead, what you can do is you can actually, like, instead of just, it's all in one package, it's all or nothing. What works really well is, like, instead of doing that, you do something like, for example, hey, maybe initially it's like $50, and then like there's an upsell for like, hey, if you wanna do more, it's like $300, and maybe after that there's even a product for like $1,000, right? I should really write better. Sorry for that. So $50, $300, $1,000. So now what's going to happen is like a lot more people, like this is much easier to actually make a purchase on, right? It's much easier, like more people are actually going to do that. So let's say you get 100 people there, then obviously not everyone is going to make this purchase. So maybe 10% of people are going to make that purchase. So that's like 10 people right here. And then maybe, I don't know, like 3 people are going to make that purchase, right? So I'm just doing the math on the top of my head. So this is like 50 times, that will be $5,000. This is $3,000, and here's another $3,000. So now you have a total of $11,000 from those 100 customers. So that is $110 LTV, right? And this is important, right? So we went from like we're selling a $50 product, and yet our LTV, lifetime value, or not lifetime, like, but at least at the moment of purchase, is $110, right? And why is that important, right? Because even though we're selling a $50 item, right? We're selling a $50 item on Facebook, like using our Facebook ads. We can literally, for example, spend $80 on ads to get someone to buy a $50 product. So we are able to spend a lot more. We can win from other advertisers. We can have a bigger reach because we're able to afford that. Because even if we spend $80, on average, we're still making money, right? And the trick isn't just to like have like some upsells. The trick is really to start tweaking your funnel, right? And we do this a lot. We run a lot of split tests. So when we create a page, it's not like we just create one page. We actually create, for example, 2 or 3 pages. And then we start testing like, hey, which page is actually converting best. Like maybe this is not the winner, but maybe the other one, that's the winner, right? And then we promote that one to be actually the actual winner that we start running. So now, instead of, for example, having, let's say it's a webinar registration page or something like that, instead of having a conversion rate of like 18%, now all of a sudden it's like 26%, right? Which is obviously a lot better, right? Same thing on the upsells as well. Like let's say you sell something right here. You sell something right here, and then here's an upsell. I call that an OTO, a one-time offer, right? If you can get that to go from like, I don't know, like, from like 6% to 8%, that's a huge win. That is a huge win. You might think, wow, that's not a big deal. That's a huge win, right? That's a third extra, 1/3. So by doing these kind of experiments, by doing these kind of tests, by optimizing the funnel, we're allowing ourselves to spend more on ads, and that's really how we win. Because yes, we can spend a lot of time on trying to get our ad cost to go down on Facebook, but there's a limit to how much we can do, how far we can bring that down, right? Like if we're looking at like in and out, right? Like how much do we put into Facebook, and how much do we get out? Like there's no way we can get our ad cost to go to $0, right? That's just not possible, because Facebook wants to have a business as well. But there's basically no limit, virtually no limit, to how much we can get from a client, right? I'm not saying that obviously there is a limit, but like there's no hard cap, right? Some people might be willing to spend $1 per lead, while someone else in the industry might be able to spend $20 per lead and still have a profit, because they know, like they solve their problems, their customers' problem better, and they are able to charge for it, right? So a big part of this whole funnel setup is in the math, and I know that's kind of boring, but it's really about, first of all, having a good offer and a good hook, right? Look, what is the new opportunity? But then as part of that also, it's the math behind it of like, how do we increase the likelihood of being able to get a good ROI? And that goes to like having a good funnel, right? Having a good angle, but also like start optimizing it each step of the way. Like what's the best converting landing page? How do we change the video so that we get a higher percentage of people to promote? How can we send better email sequences? Because obviously, like if we, and I know I go from one thing to the other, I totally apologize, but like let's say someone actually makes a purchase and then we actually go to the upsell, the OTO1 for example, like we're not just sending them to the email, but to that page, we might also send them like follow-up emails as well. Like, hey, by the way, today you can still get access. Again, this email is something we might test to see like, hey, this if we do it with a particular headline, we actually get a much better open rate, and the other one like doesn't work at all. Boom. So from now on, we promote that. So by doing all these changes in all these different places over time, we will get it will be much easier, right? So maybe initially, I just told you about the money in versus money out. I told you 1 to 3 is perfect. Actually, I've been lying a little bit, because I know that if I start a new funnel, right? If I start a brand new funnel, and if I spend $1 to get $1 out, I'm a happy kid. I know I can scale that, right? Or even if it's not $1, it's like slightly below, like that's 0.8 or 0.9, right? And yes, this is going to require work. It's not going to be easy, but I know that if this is a starting point, $1 in, $1 out, I can make it work, because that's where the beauty starts. That's where we start optimizing and tweaking. And is that a lot of work? Yes, it's a lot of work, right? And this is the thing where a lot of people go wrong. Like they don't put in the effort and they don't put in the time. And I get that. I totally get it. Actually, I want to share a story of like the first time I cracked this code. I remember it was a couple of years ago. I was actually in Russell Brunson's inner circle. And there's a group of people all doing extremely well. This is a couple of years ago, right? It was a $25,000 mastermind. We flew out to Boise in the US every once in a while. And I remember, like back then, I was still trying to get more results with Facebook ads. I was getting some results, but not quite, right? And I remember I was trying all kinds of different ad campaigns. So first of all was a Facebook ad towards a sales page, and I tried a Facebook ads towards basically Jeff Walker style video sequence. So like after they opted in, they would get 3 days of videos, and then after that I would make an offer. Like I've tried it all, did not work. I also tried the webinar, like an ad, people sign up for a webinar, right? Enter the name and email address, and then I did a live webinar. Sorry for the writing, but I did a webinar. Like even that did not work, right? So at some point I was at a mastermind at that group, and I was talking to those people, and they were doing way better than me. Their business was like 4 to 5 times better, and I was there and I was thinking like, wow, like I don't mean this the wrong way. This sounds like a douchebag thing to think, but I thought like, I was like, if you can do it, I can do it, because you're not that much smarter than me. So if you can do it, I can do it, right? And I started listening to what they were doing. And a lot of them were doing this automated webinar funnel, right? Or just live webinar funnel. I was like, wait a second. I've been trying this, didn't work, right? So I tried it again. Didn't work. I went back to the group, like crap, didn't work. They told me, no, it works, keep doing it. I went back, tried it again. Did not work, lost money, didn't work. You went back, dude, like, it's not working. No, it's working, do it again. I don't know when it started working, but it was like the 5th or 6th attempt or something like that, with months and months of struggling and wasting money. And the reason why I'm sharing that is because it didn't work for me at all. But because I had people around me who gave me the confidence to keep going, right? And that's the hard thing sometimes, because sometimes you'll have an idea and you're confident that it will work, and you try it out and it doesn't work, and then you're like, crap, it doesn't work, so I need to try something different. And sometimes that's the right thing to do. Sometimes it's the right thing to do, to drop an idea, let it go, try something else, right? But sometimes you just need to hang in there and just keep on going. When you decide what that is, when you decide whether it's good or not, like whether it's something to stick around and just keep on going with or not. And I think that's, it's personal for everyone. What works for me is I just want to see, so like if I see it's working for someone else, then I know I can do it as well. And ideally, I want to see at least 2 people who do the same thing. Like if I see 2 people do a certain funnel and it's working for them, and I see a lot of, like I see it's working for them, then I know it's possible, and I know I can do it as well. If I have a new idea, a new funnel, and I haven't seen anyone do it, then I know, like, all right, it's risky, I'm gonna try it out. I'll give it my best shot, maybe make a couple of tweaks. And if it doesn't work, I'll let it go, like it's not working, right? So, for example, these days you see a lot of free plus shipping books, right? And whatever your opinion is, like on that, like some people say like, free plus shipping is like, it's free, but it's not really free, so make up your mind, right? But whatever your opinion is, doesn't really matter. Like the fact is that I see a lot of people run it, and they keep doing it, which tells me it's working. Like if they write a book, they put a lot of time and effort into it, and they do it again a year later, a new book, it tells me it's working for them, right? So now I know it's working. So now I'm like, right, we need to crack that code and do it as well, right? And if I do that, and if I launch my first free plus shipping book, which I am planning on, I know it's not going to work right away. I know it's going to be a struggle. I know it's going to take time. But then, again, we start testing. We create a sales page. We create multiple variations. There's an upsell after it, right? The upsell will have multiple variations, and we'll figure it out. And maybe the upsell doesn't work at all, and we're like, go for something completely else, different product, different price, right? So it's about that process, right? I've been sharing a lot of different things. Apologies for that. So going back to how to create a 7-figure funnel in 14 days. So what I've done is I was like, all right, Connect Retarget is a product that we sell. I already have that product, which is awesome. Customers are using it. It's amazing. But like one of the problems people need to create retargeting ads. So I'm going to create a product called a retargeting machine as a front-end product, right? But what is actually physically needed to get this all in place, right? And I might go a little bit fast, so you might need to take notes. First thing I had to do, I needed to come up with the hook and the angle. Like, what is the product going to be? This was a lot of brainstorming. I'll just use my iPad, make sketches, make notes of like what would it actually be. Once I formulated it, I was like, great. So, what is it actually going to be? The first thing I do is I write the sales video. Why? Because it forces me to really think about what are the objections people have. So a sales video, I usually follow a specific script where I start off with the hook and the angle, like I grab the attention, and then I start off like, why did I create that product, right? I talk about the problem it will solve. I'll talk about the solution it will have. I'll talk about why it works so well. I'll share some stats about that it actually works so well. And but also it forces me to really think about, what does my audience actually need? What do they actually want? What are the objections people might have, right? Because if they have an objection, like, oh, it's too expensive, or like, oh, I need to do this, or hey, I cannot do that. Like, if they have an objection, then I'm gonna buy. So I wanna make sure that I overcome that. And the reason why I'm doing a sales video first, because I will be able to list all the objections that people have, and then I can also craft my training program better to match that, right? So first step, I create a sales video. And actually I need to create multiple sales videos. I need to have the main sales video, right? But in case you do an upsell, you want to do that as well. Like, I personally do a video because that's just the easiest way format for me. Some people prefer text, totally fine, right? So that's first. Then creating the actual training program, right? So then basically the way I create my training program is like, I think of it like that. Like, where are people currently at, current situation, and where do I want to bring them? So currently, they might run retargeting ads, or they haven't run retargeting ads, but they're not doing it the best way possible. And here, they're running retargeting ads that are created to convert, right? How do I bring them there? What are all the steps they need to do, right? Could be like, they need to install a pixel to their site. You need to understand their business and understand their audience, right? Because if you don't understand your audience, it's hard to write good ads, right? They need to write Facebook ads. They need to create videos, and create images and create their campaign. Again, apologies for the writing. So there's a lot of things I need to do, and I sort of mapped it out in my mind. And then what I usually do is actually make a mind map, literally. So it'll be like, so step one is this, and I just create all the things they need to do. Step one this, like what are all the things they need to do, boom. And that helps me to just put things in mind. And initially, it's a very messy process because there's like, oh, they need to do this and that. And like, it's all over the place. But as it starts to develop, it will all become more clear. And everyone has their own preferred way of teaching. Some people prefer to do it like that with a whiteboard. Some people prefer to do it in PowerPoint. Some people just prefer to do it completely different. That's totally fine. Whatever you're comfortable with. But the first thing I do is like prepare all the content to see like, hey, how can we structure everything? But then also what I do is like, I'm not just thinking about like, what are all the steps do they have to take to get here, to have a highly profitable retargeting campaign set up for the business, right? That's not the only thing I want to do. I want to make sure to get them there as fast as possible, right? Because everyone could do this, right? But I want to make sure to do it better than anyone else, right? So what can I improve for them? What can I take away? What can I do for them, right? So write the Facebook ads, perhaps, not perhaps, we actually did that. Like this part, like we've developed based on what we know works, our best converting Facebook ad templates, fill in the blank templates, right? Not one or two, but like a whole bunch of them that they can just pick that work in any industry, right? Boom, right? Same here, like the campaign. There's so much stuff that you can think about setting up a Facebook campaign. Like, what's the budget? What's the optimization? What's the role? All these different things. We've been testing a lot of different things. I know exactly what's working best for retargeting, so I gave them to that in the course. Like, hey, don't try all these different things. This is what you do. This is what's working best. This is your budget. This is how you set this up. This is like I'll show it to them on my screen. So all these things, I'm trying to condense it, right? So now I got my sales video, got it scripted. I've mapped out my training, what I want to teach. I will create the training. And obviously I need to set up a sales page, which you can do like using ClickFunnels or WordPress. Doesn't really matter, right? What else? I need to create a logo. Had to hire someone to create a logo because you want to make sure it looks really, really good, right? Impression is everything, especially with marketing. What else? You want to make sure on your sales page you have your privacy policy, your terms of service, and all those kind of things. That's obviously important if you want to run Facebook ads towards it. Just trying to think about what else we did to actually create it, to put it together. And obviously you want to also, like if you already have an audience, you want to do an offer. Like you want to use your email list as well. Like even though our goal with this new funnel is to run ads to it, initially we're going to run it to our existing audience as well. So what do you do to promote it to your existing audience, right? Like, so what we do, we'll actually have a series of emails that we send out to promote it, right? So these are all emails, right? And typically what we do, what works really well, just in case, while we're on the topic and we're sharing a lot of stuff, what works really well with emails is like, usually the first email would be something like where we talk about the opportunity that it actually has, right? The opportunity, right? And then we would probably do something like social proof. So we'd have email where like people who've already used this to prove that it actually works. We would cover their objections, like if there's any objections, which would be, for example, FAQ email where we say like, hey, you got any questions, like any questions we get from support, like people ask like, hey, does it also work in this industry? We'll have an FAQ, yes, it works in that industry. Like, so we'll go through the FAQ, and then we'll have, we'll usually, if we promote it the first time, we'll have a special offer for our own audience, so that our own customers, they have the benefit of being on our email list. So we'll always close that down, and we'll do that usually with multiple emails on one day. So we say like, hey, today is actually the last day you can get it at a discount. So if you can grab it today. So if you're watching this video and you're on my list, you maybe have seen even these emails, or you are going to see this email. I'm not sure when this video that I'm currently recording is going to be released yet. I'm literally just talking about it. It's probably my longest solo content video, which is the most chaotic. So if you are like me, sometimes a bit chaotic, drop it in the comments. I'd really appreciate that. So what else? So obviously we always go all in. Like I want to make sure that whoever gets our product, we over deliver. So yes, besides of these training, what we also do is we create all kinds of resources like PDFs and just things to make it super easy. What else? Oh yeah, another good tip for you. Obviously we need to run Facebook ads or YouTube ads, right? So one good tip for you there as well. So what I need to do as well, I'll be shooting multiple video ads, right? It's not like, hey, I'm just going to create one ad and that's going to work. We need to try out multiple things. Now here's a cool tip for you if you're running any video ads on Facebook. I remember a while ago, I had a call with someone from Facebook ads, my Facebook ads account manager. I was like, hey, like, do you want to go through your account? They said to me. I'm like, sure, let's walk us through the account. And I didn't really expect much, to be honest. I remember him asking, say, hey, do you know the average time people watch your video? And at that point, I thought my ads were crushing it because of my videos. My videos were like 3 or 4 minutes long, which usually is my sweet spot. And I had no idea. And the average watch time was 6 seconds. So on average, from my 3-4 minute video, the average watch time was 6 seconds, which meant that some people were watching the video for a longer time. A lot of people were watching it for like a couple of seconds. And that told me like, wow, like instead of creating a lot of different Facebook ads, what I used to do before that, I created like 5, 6, 7 different ads, which takes a lot of time. So then what I started doing is I'm just going to create one main ad, but I have like a quick 10-20 seconds introduction, how I grab the attention, like, and I make sure I grab the attention and I stop talking for a moment, and then I can continue with this part. Like I'll do this, and then I'll just record multiple of the introduction, because the first couple of seconds is going to matter most, right? Because after that, that's going to grab the attention, and that's usually how I test my ads. I just create like a bunch of different introductions, which are all like 10 seconds long, and then the main Facebook ad, like the video where I tell people about, the call to action, the thing that I want them to do to sign up for training or anything like that, is the same, right? And that's the easiest way to test out a lot of different ads and to get more results. And usually you'll see that a lot of these are not going to work, and then 1 or 2 of those intros are crushing it, right? So that is how you quickly and more efficiently run ads. So that's also part of it as well. And that's basically it. So in what we've actually done, and this actually, I've been talking really fast, my apologies for that, but also we've created this funnel really fast. So we had the idea, like it started out with the idea phase, right? Hey, we want to create a new funnel. We started looking at like, hey, what is the, what are other problems that people have to use our products, and we created a new front end. So that's first of all, we focused on the problem. Then we created a new training, or at least we thought about what it would be. We created the sales video. We actually created the training. I recorded all the videos right here in the studio. I created the sales page with like the disclaimer and all that. We do an email promotion. And then we run ads to it. I still need to create those. And then that's just to get started, right? And then we'll have a baseline. And then what we start doing is like the optimization phase is like continuous. It's not even a line. Oh, what that should be is a circle, right? So we start testing a landing page, right? We improve it, we pick the new weather, and we just start improving and improving and listening to our audience. Sometimes we'll hear like, hey, we really want to have this and this feature, or we really want to have this and this thing, or we have this problem, this objection, the reason why we're not buying. We just iterate, right? And that way, by iterating, we know our conversions will go up, and it will be incredibly easy to start running ads to it, right? And the easiest will be, then we can actually get scale where we actually get to the point where we get $1 in is $3 back out, and then we can just consistently drive traffic to it. And once it's converting well, it's not just ads. Like we can run it towards our email list that we build up using UpViral. It's like where you can use Facebook ads, you can use YouTube ads, we can use affiliate partners. We can say like, hey, you want to promote this offer, it converts really, really well, which we know because we tested it and improved it. So they'll be promoting it. We can push it with content, right? We can publish it on our blog. I said like, hey, if you want to improve your retargeting, like you need to use the retargeting machine. Oh, and by the way, if you want to check out the funnel, I'm not sure if it's live while you're watching this, but it is retargetingmachine.com, and I highly recommend you to do something, which is to go through that funnel, right? But then also like check back in like, I don't know, like 90 days from now. My odds are you'll see quite a few changes, right? Because we're continually testing, depending on how much time we put into this, how fast we're going to make changes. But retargetingmachine.com, highly recommend it. And this is my, what is it, like 40-minute video of how to create a 7-figure funnel. Do I know it's going to be 7 figures yet? No, I don't know that. But from practice from before, I know it's very much possible, and I have all full confidence in it. And it's not a matter of like, hey, we're going to create something and it's going to be 7 figures. It's a matter of, hey, deciding whether it's going to be 7 figures and just putting in the energy, putting in the time, putting in whatever it needs to do. Like just like I shared with the webinar funnel, like it didn't work for like the first four times, and only the 5th time it worked, and that was like well into 7 figures. Well, without sharing too many specifics, it was way more than just 7 figures. So massive opportunity if you do all this right. Let me know in the comments if you would like me to do more of these, just like sharing a lot of different stuff. I know for some of you it's not going to make a lot of sense. For some of you, like, oh, this is awesome. I just figured to try something new with all of you, just sharing whatever I have to have on my mind. And with that having said, check it out, retargetingmachine.com. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think of this video, and I will talk to you all soon.